Welcome to TwoQuestions.tv. I'm your host, Susan Baroncini-Moe. Today, I am joined by Les Trachtman. He spent the last 2 decades helping founders in half a dozen growing organizations and acting as a Sherpa for dozens of others. He served as CEO of companies ranging from venture-backed to a 2-decade-old, $350 million information technology and services company. And in this book, Don't F It Up, which he kindly told me how to say without swearing, he's sharing all of his hard-earned expertise on when and how to hand off a company to a worthy successor. Les, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
I'm very happy to have you on the show, and I'm very happy not to have to swear. So
I'm sorry about that.
No, actually, I think it's genius because, it does make you go, oh, what's in there? I should maybe read that. So the title is important because you say that's actually the worst thing that you can say to employees. So could you explain why that is, and then explain why make that the title of the book? Like, what's the significance there? And is it about knowing as a founder when not to F it up and when to let it go?
Yeah, a little bit. So let me describe what the term means inside of a company, and then I can give you the derivation of the title of the book as well. The term comes from when a company starts to become successful, the management tends to pull back a little bit and say, okay, so now we think we know what we're doing. Let's not mess with success. Mm-hmm. And that's perhaps the worst thing that anybody could possibly do, because these founders of these successful companies up to that date have done it because they've taken risks, hopefully calculated risks, but they've taken those risks. They've really given themselves the right to make some mistakes, to get to the edge, and perhaps to even F it up. But when they hit that success, it slows them down a little bit.
Yeah.
The title of the book came from a very good friend of mine who asked me to help him with his company, founder, a big company. He had been very successful. And when he handed the company, the CEO role off to me, he casually made that comment, don't F it up.
Yes.
Now, I knew him pretty well, and so I didn't take it that personally at the moment. But what I realized after a couple of months is really deep down inside, he was worried. He was scared to death that he was handing his baby off to somebody who might F it up. And so that's where the title of the book came from.
Now, there is a big theme that runs through the book, and it seems to be a theme of letting go. Many entrepreneurs and CEOs that I've worked with as clients are big control freaks, and they're also really good at what they do. So how can they let go when the reality is they're letting go of people who they won't believe, they believe will not do as well as they will? So, if I'm a successful founder and I'm at 100% on a good day, my 100% might be somebody else's. They're never going to achieve my 100%. They're going to maybe be 70% of me on a good day. So I guess what I'm asking is, when you're letting go of your baby, this thing that you've created, how do you let go? And how do you know when it really is time to let go? Yeah,
it's a great question. And if for those in your audience who have ever raised children, you have exactly the same thing, right? So it's I want to control everything they do just so that they will be safe.
Yes.
Or just so that they will grow up with the right morals, or just so whatever the reason
Nothing bad will happen. They'll be successful.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it's just the opposite type of behavior, not just letting go and letting them do anything they want to, with guidance and with direction, letting them learn on their own, letting them truly fall off the bicycle, skin their knee, realize what the consequences are, and try it again and get better at it. Learn to fail a little bit, hopefully to a point where they don't catastrophically injure themselves. That's the same concept for a founder. And in business, I think successful people probably believe that they're very good at doing something. And when you do something well, you get lots of reinforcement in the marketplace. Sometimes that's money, salary, earnings as a company. And so you like to continue doing that. We like that reinforcement of people saying we've done things well, especially when they judge it by paying us money for that. So we get addicted to that. And that addiction stops us from enabling or even acknowledging that somebody might be as good as us or might not be as good as us, but it's in our interest in order to scale our enterprises to allow them to take on that role, even though they might not be exactly as good as us.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, my goodness, you're quick. You answered my 2 questions awfully fast. You're succinct. I like it.
What else would you like to talk about?
I'm not allowed. I'm only allowed 2 questions. You want to do a bonus round?
I'm up for anything.
Well, look, I will say this. This was a really I found your book really interesting, and especially because so many of my clients do struggle with letting go. And I don't know if you're actually. I'm reaching for a book. It strikes me as it would pair well with this book, Happy Work, which is a book about creating pleasant and that basically happy employees or productive employees. And so when you mention in here, don't say this to your employees, it struck a nerve because I read something similar in Happy Work. And I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. Even though your book is really about letting go of the company, it strikes me that it's probably a lot easier to let go of your company when your employees are happy. And when you know that they're doing, the culture is sound.
It is. And I guess I can take that last step, which is probably an important one. And I think it probably will lead itself right into the happy work idea. But when you're as a CEO, when you hold tight to things, you kind of restrict other people from growing those muscles of dealing with them. When you pull back a little bit and let them grow those muscles, they start to get encouraged. And they realize that perhaps you're going to rely upon them. And then that gives them more impetus, more power on their own, more energy to go and try to do a better job at it. I tend to look at it as CEOs and founders to challenge their employees rather than to tell them and rather than to restrict them. There is one caveat, though, that I try to make sure, especially in the founder world that I do, that's when you give an employee power, you need to give them authority as well.
Yeah.
So if you say, please do this, and they do it, and then you take the baton out of their hands before it gets to the customer or gets to the final round of production or whatever that might be that they're responsible for, they get disheartened by that. And we as founders and CEOs tend to want to keep control. So we have to give up authority and power at the same time and enable them to really run their own lives. And if they run their own lives and then they start to be successful, they get that reinforcement that we like to have ourselves. And that does create happy employees. And it creates more than just happy employees, at least in my experience. It creates a level of energy in a company that you really can't match.
Yeah, I really like that idea of separating power from authority because they are such different things. That's a really interesting insight.
Thank you. It's one I've run into a bunch of times.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. Well, I didn't mean to plug another book, but I will say, like, it occurs to me they're similar. So this is the book, viewers. This is Don't F It Up. Again, thank you for not making me swear. And so thank you so much, Les. I really appreciate it. I would ask you more questions if I was allowed to, but that's all I'm allowed. So
the format works just fine with me. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And if you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, please click the thumbs up and subscribe for more great interviews with amazing authors like Les Trachtman. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.